What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Game Freak. Today, we are going to go over some games that are celebrating anniversaries in 2025. A little while back, I did a video of games that were turning 40 this year, and I don't want to do that because it made me feel old just going through games like that. So, this list is going to be games, some of them are 40, some of them are 40 plus. A majority of them are, 10, 15, 20 years around that time where I won't feel as old, but it's just crazy how fast like time flies by when it comes to games, man. Like some of these games I just can't believe are as old as they are. And the first one I want to start out with, I have the PS4 version. It did come out on PS3, but PS4 was, I shouldn't say new, but it was relatively new. But it is Metal Gear Solid The Phantom Pain. I did play the PS3 version and it looks just as good. This pushed the limits on the PS3 and it looks phenomenal on the PS4 as well. Again, they look the exact same. They ran I think it's called the Fox engine, and I remember first playing this, I was like, man, I hope every game ever that comes out after this runs on that engine because it just controls beautifully. A lot of people might get mad at me or want to crucify me that are Metal Gear fans for what I'm about to say. Number one, this is my favorite in the whole series. Absolutely love the Phantom Pain. The thing that most people are probably going to get mad at when I say this is I like Kiefer Sutherland voicing Big Boss or Snake better than David Hayter. I have nothing against David Hayter. I love all of the old Metal Gear games. In fact, I've been a fan since the original on the NES. I have just always loved this series. I think it's a awesome, awesome series. But I just think Kiefer Sutherland's voice fit the way the character looked better than what David Hayter does. I think David Hayter kind of over exaggerates his voice for Snake, and nothing wrong with that. I mean, I don't have anything against that. It's just, I think Kiefer Sutherland did a better job. If you've never played Metal Gear Solid The Phantom Pain, I highly, highly recommend it. This game turns 10 years old this year. It's just crazy. I think I've put as many hours in this game as I have like Red Dead Redemption 2, which is my favorite game of all time. That's how much I enjoyed playing this game, and just talking about it makes me want to start all over and do this game again. This game is so good. It does start out a little slow. You're in a hospital, you're crippled, but after you manage to get out of there, it picks up pretty quick. Man, you could just do the missions any way that you want. So it's a absolute blast of a game. Highly, highly recommend it. 10 years old, man. It's crazy. The next game that I can't believe is 10 years old is a game that not many people talk about. It was just supposed to be a big deal, and that is The Order 1886. I mean, this game is nuts, man. It's kind of like a I don't want to say cyberpunk, like a steampunk, even though it's based on the 1800s. Like some of the weapons are just insane on this, and you're going around killing like werewolves and shit. Still a really good game. Obviously, graphics have came a long way since then, but The Order, if you've never played it, you can get it pretty damn cheap now. But I remember buying this when it first came out. I absolutely loved it. I haven't went back and played it in years. I might have to do that one of these days. The Order's a really cool game. So 10 years old, man, that's insane. The next one is a PS3 game, and this is 15 years old. And I just recently bought this game because I really enjoyed the first one. I enjoy the third one too. But when I went out game hunting, I was like, originally I only had the first one, loved it. I was like, I need the second and third, see what they're like. And that is Lost Planet 2 for the PS3. This game is an absolute blast, man. I actually like this one better than the first one, and I really enjoyed the first one. The third one is a prequel to both of them, but it's still pretty fun, but it's probably the worst of the three. Lost Planet 2, Really cool game and great visuals, especially for its time. 15 years ago, this game looks absolutely beautiful and it stands the test of time. The next game, my nephew actually talked me into getting. He goes, "Man, I can't believe you've never played this game. I mean, you like God of War and stuff like that. I think that you would really like this game." And this is another 15-year-old game for the PS3, and that is Dante's Inferno. I'm having a blast. I'm still playing this game. I have not completed it yet. I have so many other games that I'm playing, so I'm kind of going back and forth in between a bunch of games. I do need to get back to this and complete it, but I'm really enjoying everything that I've encountered in it so far. It's a really fun game. Controls smooth, good graphics for 15 years ago. It's pretty crazy. The next game is also 15 years old, and this is one of my favorite games, definitely one of my favorite series, and it was also for the PS3, and that is God of War 3. Kratos is one of my favorite characters of all time. Part 3, I mean, this one, they're all fucking gory. All the God of War games are gory, but Part 3 was probably the goriest of them all. In fact, Sean Cunningham from Friday the 13th, he actually created some of the monsters and the gore and stuff in this game. So that's pretty cool. I'm a big Friday the 13th fan, so right when I heard about that, I was like, oh, that's awesome. But I mean, I would have bought this game regardless because I loved the first two. So yeah, 15 years old, man. Next, and we're going to stick with God of War. This was actually on the PS2, but I don't have the PS2 version. I have the collection on PS3, and that is the first God of War. And the first God of War is 20 years old. God of War was an absolutely amazing game, and I loved it. But now, if you go back and play that original, it's still fun, still plays great, still looks great, and everything. But it's probably the worst in the series. Oh, maybe Ascension. It's just crazy how each one just got better and better and better. Part two is amazing, and then part three is even better than part two. And Ascension, is it's okay. But then they revamped the series, and instead of Greek mythology, they ended up going to Norse mythology. Next, we have a game that is now 15 years old, and it started it all to my favorite game, and that is the very first Red Dead Redemption, which is actually the sequel to part two. Part two is a prequel, but Red Dead Redemption was just ahead of its time 15 years ago. This game was absolutely amazing. It does not hold a candle to part two, though. If you go through part two and then, want to continue the story and go back to the first one, it kind of sucks because I loved this game, and now it's like, man, this game kind of sucks compared to the second or really the first. If you do have part two, I do recommend still getting this one. You can get it for the PS4 now. It's, I guess, remastered. It's not really remastered. It has a little bit better gameplay, but that's about it. I think you'll enjoy it, just not as much as the second one. Red Dead is just a cool ass game, man. Next on the list, 40 years old, man. Super Mario Brothers 40. Man, I remember playing this all night long when I got my NES. Nothing more that I wanted to do than to rescue that princess, man. This game was just awesome. Awesome game. I still go back and play it once in a while. It's just a timeless classic. Next, we have a game that is now 20 years old. This one hurt, man, that it's 20 years old because I feel like it just came out a couple years ago. And that is Resident Evil 4 for the GameCube. Really cool game. This is not one of my favorite Resident Evils. I like 2 and 3 the best out of all of them. In fact, I like Nemesis, which is part 3, the best out of all of them. But Resident Evil 4 is good. It's just crazy that it is 20. Next, we have a game that is turning 10 this year. This game's getting a lot of recognition, or not this game, but this series is getting a lot of recognition this year, and it got a lot of recognition last year. And that is Rise of the Tomb Raider. 10 years old. But this is the 20-year celebration. I mean, when I bought this, it was 20 years of Tomb Raider, and then this one came out. But this game alone right here, this is 10 years old now. Man, I couldn't wait to play this game. This is a really good game. Really good game. If you're a Tomb Raider fan, I think you'd really enjoy this game in the series. I like the modern Tomb Raider games a lot better than going back and playing the old ones, because I've said in other videos, them old tank controls, man, are just they're bad, really bad. And we have two more games that I want to mention here, and they are actually playing behind me. On the 8-bit arcade right here, we have Pac-Man, and that mofo is 45. 45 in 2025. That hurts. And the other one is back on my Freakade. Here, let me move my chair. Commando. Commando is 40 years old. I'm talking about the arcade version. 40 years old. In fact, it took me, get ready for this, 37 years to finally beat the arcade version of Commando. And I will tell you right now, when I finally completed it, I was absolutely pissed because it has the dumbest ending ever. And you pretty much just start over again. So I was like, oh my God, this is one of my favorite arcade games ever. And the ending just sucked. I was so pissed, and it took me 37 goddamn years to complete it. So it's just crazy how fast time flies, especially when it comes to these games, man. I mean, we just keep getting older. It kind of sucks, but I mean, what can you do? Time is time, man. That's just the way it works. So yeah, those are the games I wanted to share with you today that are having anniversaries in 2025. So if you are new to this channel, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. It really helps out this channel a lot, and I greatly, greatly appreciate it. And if you are a content creator, don't forget to type in the word content in the comment section. We have something on this channel that I like to call the GameFreak Army. And if we see the word content, we will go to your channel and we will subscribe to you, because that's what we do, man. We want to help each other out, help each other's channels grow. It's not a competition here. We just want to help each other out and talk about games and shit like that. That's what YouTube's all about. Just bullshitting, having a good time, talking about stuff that we like. In this case, video games. So once again, I want to thank you guys for taking the time to watch this video, and until the next one, game on, everybody.